Good morning. Thank you for welcoming me here. Happy to share some thoughts about Commerzbank and what we do with OpenShift. It's quite a long story already, but we need to start at Commerzbank. So what is Commerzbank doing? And in a nutshell, we are a bank. I guess you're all having a bank, or you must have a bank, and we are one of these. We are based in Germany, so we are serving private customers and mid-sized businesses, as well as corporate customers. And in the area of the mid-sized businesses, Commerzbank is market leading in Germany, so we finance a lot of business which German customers are doing in the world. That is what Commerzbank is doing, and we're doing that on a focused business model, on a focused strategy, which puts three pillars in place, which is growth, which is excellence, and which is responsibility. And we can talk 1 hour about these three things. I don't want to do that, but I want to map that to the IT. And what does that mean for the IT strategy? And I'll explain later why I did that. So from an IT perspective, obviously, we talk about growth. We mostly talk about customer orientation, serving our customers. If we talk about excellence, we are talking about efficiency in operating our products when we are on an IT point of view. We are talking about the capability to deliver new solutions quicker with better processes. That is done by excellence here. And responsibility, I guess, our core IT stability, IT security. As we already learned in the session before, it was mentioned there as well. So that's what we are looking for. And why do I put that on the slide? I did that because we think that we do an offer to our company which helps us to achieve these targets. I'll go a step further and say I think we are one of the key success factors for Commerzbank to achieve the targets we just saw. And I wouldn't be here on the OpenShift Commons if there wouldn't be OpenShift on the picture, if I describe the service we are providing. So obviously we see OpenShift right in the middle of this picture here. But in a big company, it's also very important to integrate the delivery you make into the processes of the company, so in the bank, in our case. And that's why we have some touch points to other systems, bringing us up a service, which we call container as a service, or CaaS in short, helping us to provide the overall platform to our customers, which are the development teams within the Commerzbank. Let's start with the ordering and resource management thing. So when you want to have a namespace on our OpenShift clusters, you will get an ordering system where you can order the namespace and you get it provisioned automatically. You also can manage your resource consumption in there. And this comes with a kind of checklist process which leads you through the whole process of bringing software into development, of bringing it to the test phases and bringing it to the production environment. Because for each of these steps, you need to fulfill some criteria. You need to have specific documents in place. That's why you are in a bank. That's why you are regulated. There are some questions you need to answer. And this is also done by this ordering management system. Of course, you couldn't do anything with the OpenShift platform if you wouldn't integrate into your deployment processes, right? We saw that for the MasterCard colleagues right before as well. They're integrating that as well. We do too. Obviously, that's necessary. We go to the lower part here. Obviously, we integrate into Active Directory or Entra ID now. That's where we have our identity stored. We integrated into HashiCorp Vault. Who asked about what's going on with HashiCorp Vault? So we use that, obviously. I guess most of you as well. We integrate with Red Hat Quay. And Red Hat Quay is important for the bank, and that's for one special reason. And the reason is that we are allowing to pulling or mirroring images from the internet, but we allow it only via Quay. So all the images we are using are coming in via Quay. We are not using Quay in the development or in the CI/CD process. That's other colleagues anyhow who are doing that. but we do that for mirroring the images to the bank. We also provide NFS storage. I bet most of you will do the same. So we need the functionality of these NFS drives attached to our containers. So NetApp CVO is our solution for that, and we manage that internally as well. And ACM is one of our management components also. We are running quite a while with ACM now. It's still finding its place in Commerzbank. What we really want to do with it, where we really want to focus on, that it's ACM. And obviously, we have a 24/7 operating in the bank, and this needs to be fit with information as well. We do. And we have some customers using the same product. It's Dynatrace, it's written there. This is used by our customers as well, so we support them doing the monitoring with Dynatrace as well. So you see, we have a bunch of things around the OpenShift landscape itself to integrate the solution into the bank. And that's, I guess, is one of the key success factors for our platform. Let's move on a bit to the roadmap, what we have run through. We started in 2018. That was time when OpenShift 3.7 was on the market. We had that on OpenStack, and we had that all on bare metal. And relatively quickly after that, it turned out that we should move to cloud infrastructure as a service services and provide virtual machines out of the cloud providers to run our container landscape. So it was done in 2019 and 2020. And we saw there already that we moved to Azure. Google was a bit later, so we have this two-vendor strategy in place. But at this time in 2019, 2020, a lot of discussions around cloud, about compliance of cloud, about compliance of bringing workload to the cloud has been done, at least in Commerzbank. Pretty sure that other ones are discussing that as well. And that led to the situation that we need kind of rework our installation. And we already had at this time somehow 100 customers on the platform. So it was really quickly growing at the beginning. And that's why we had in 2021, we have this zone concept. You can think of it as a kind of network segregation, network trust model. Let's leave it with that for the time being here. And obviously we then started, after we have the new clusters in the zone model, migrating the other ones over. In 2022, as we said, we already started with Google, and then also the introduction of the ACM was taking place. In 2023, then we finished all the migrations, so all of our customers migrated their products to the new platform, obviously. But it's always hard to discuss, to do only a change because of some technical reasons and not providing additional functionality, at least at our company. So this is done, and during this year, we also decommissioned all of the rest, all the first cloud installations, all the on-prem installations, everything has been removed, and we are now 100% living in this zone concept. And I come to that on the next slide again. Currently, we are with OpenShift 4.14. We are always looking on 4.15, seeing the challenges we see from there. We are still on Azure and Google. We are managing 40 plus OpenShift clusters right now, which is quite a lot. And we are running with 300 plus customers on our systems with a broad range of size of these applications. Stepping towards 2027, as in the strategies, or someone may have read that, we still believe that OpenShift is there. So one statement. And the other one is, and we'll see a bit more use cases doing cloud native business overall. So think about the AI thing. I think there will be something for the company being pure cloud-native software development. We'll see some more individualized cluster setups. This means that we will find different configurations of operators in the different clusters. This is sometimes asked for. Currently, we are working with standard clusters. It's not individualized, but we'll see that this needs comes up. And some other customers also will adapt GKE and AKS as well. So Azure Kubernetes Service and Google Kubernetes Service. Okay, let's take this zone model. So 30 plus customers, 300 plus customers and 40 plus containers to the next level. Let me show you what our landscape is looking like. So you see the green zone, blue zone, yellow zone, and common services layer on the slide. That are exactly the zones out of the zone model. And you see two of them marked as yellow. That are the important ones. Really? So we have the yellow zone, which you can treat as the natural extension of our on-prem network towards the cloud providers. This enables us to have workload running on OpenShift on, for example, Azure virtual machines and access data inside the bank. And that is the reason for doing it that way. That makes it easy because most of our data is inside the bank, not outside yet. You see that we have Azure and Google in place, and you see that we are doing shared clusters and dedicated clusters. What does that mean? So shared clusters, obviously, most of our customers are running on these shared clusters. That's a huge one. And we have dedicated clusters for very special purposes, very special use cases. Come back to that later. And we are dividing in different stages. So I guess most of you are doing that the same. So we have development, we have test, which is treated as TOC and TOD on the slide, and production. And now the common service layer comes in place. Think about the deployment engine. The deployment engine needs to be able to move the images to all of these stages there. This is something you usually don't want to have. I don't want to see a business application with business data in the common services layer with these permissions to access all of these environments. That's what you don't want to have. That's what you want to restrict. And we do that. We do that very strict, and we have a team in place which decides if a customer can move on the common service layer or not. Mostly our architects, our IT architects are doing these decisions with the customers. Okay, as said, 4.14 is our current version, and we are running only on stable channel. We are not using other channels than the stable one. We are running on about 700 virtual machines currently. It's rising and decreasing all the time. Sometimes we increase by putting new nodes to the clusters. Sometimes we ramp them down again. Overall, we are running 38,000 pods in average, let me say it like that. So we already saw the 40,000, but let's stay with the 38,000 pods running on this infrastructure. And we are doing it like the colleagues from MasterCard. We are doing that in 3 availability zones. So if one data center is down, the other 2 takes over in case of critical situation or so, then we have the redundancy in place. But we are in one region only currently. There's no need for us to be in other regions yet, but this might come up next year. Sometimes there is a question about that. Don't know how based this question is, but for the time being, we are living in one region with the overall installation. And we are running some really mission-critical applications. Our online banking, as I said, because of the customers, we are running a portal for our private customers. We are running one for our corporate customers, and we are running one for the employee in our branches. So 3 different portals. All of them are running on OpenShift in this setup. And this is a dedicated cluster where these use cases are running in. Obviously very customer facing, yeah, so should be available, it should be stable. Probably from another angle important, we are working for our customers and we need to store our customer data somewhere and maintain the customer data. This is done in a specific application in Commerzbank as well, and this one is running on OpenShift too. Well, imagine that most of the processes which are run through in a bank are customer-based. Mostly, it's that you do something for your customer. That's why it's important there. And I have another example for crypto business. I'm pretty sure that most of you don't know that Commerzbank is in Germany the first bank which got a license to store crypto assets. It's not that popular in Europe overall, I would say, to go into that business. Commerzbank is doing. And the special thing on this cluster is that we are running that on Google with crypto nodes. So this means that is a special configuration for this business, secure nodes on Google. And the CI/CD tools, I don't need to mention that again, we did before. So this is our setup of OpenShift and Commerzbank, and we are living in that, purely pinpointed on the OpenShift side. Obviously, we did some experiences in that. I'm not the technical guy, so I cannot tell you all the technical things, but I can tell you a bit what so the major things are. When we started to delivering this service, we started that to kickstart our customers. So it should have been easy. It should be a self-service, as you have seen. It's on Azure, it's on Google, it's separated for development environment, test environment, production environment, all of that in place. We are putting much effort in automation, and we are doing that with Ansible as well, so that's why I love the collection in the talk before, where all of that got connected. And we are delivering this service as described for a variety of teams. And you need to give me the chance to tell you what my team is doing in the whole picture. And my team is operating, obviously, the OpenShift part. We are doing the maintenance of the OpenShift clusters. We are upgrading them. We are patching them. We are doing the day-to-day business on that. We are answering a lot of customer tickets around that. We are doing the engineering to involve the overall service we deliver to the customers. And we are enhancing the automation further and further, and we're getting more speed on that over the last year, and that's very good. Yeah. And some of the takeaways or experiences we have is that we see that this service is widely used now in the bank. There's still potential for more, but it is already widely adopted, and that is because it's well integrated into Commerzbank processes. So that's very important. And we are developing this overall service along with our customers. So we wouldn't have a cluster with secure compute nodes if we wouldn't have the use case crypto. Obviously, that's following our customers. Another point, we are talking a lot about cost. If we talk about efficiency or so, we are always talking about cost. And I don't know how many of you have tried to really calculate a business case. Maybe you calculate a business case for one use case, as a colleague from before showed us with these tremendous reductions of cost footprint. But if you do that on an infrastructure level, as we need to do, and discuss with 300 customers about the cost, then it's getting a different game. It's hard to discuss about cost, even if I believe that we do it cheaper and better than compared to the situation that every customer is putting his own hardware in place. So I strongly believe that we are much cheaper and much more stable and much better than this situation. But the real use case, it's not written black on paper. And that's why it's not a good argument. The good arguments for running into these kind of solution is stability, it's availability, it's ease of use, something like that. These arguments are much better for the customers than only the cost. And by the way, I missed one of the parts when I explained the CAS service. We are also meanwhile integrated in cost allocation processes. So we produce costs for the 700 VMs. These VMs, the cost of these VMs will be allocated to all of our customers based on their needs, based on their consumption. Well, upgrading. Upgrading is a frequent job in the size of infrastructure we are operating. So when we stop updating to 4.14, we start upgrading to 4.15. That's why we are already analyzing the situation, what needs to be done, what we need to take care of. That's already be in place yet. Well, and probably one of the most critical things, that is the logging situation. And why is that the case? Normally in Commerzbank, it's that the use case, the product owner of the use case has a responsibility to store its logs. He generates the logs, so he needs to store the logs. Coming up with OpenShift, everybody knew, oh, there's a built-in logging infrastructure on the EFK sticks. And a lot of customers adopt that. And we didn't restrict that at the very beginning. So we have lots of them in there, and we are producing lots of logs. And this is really causing issues. When I took over the team starting 2022, we have been at the retention period of the data and inside the logging mechanism by 4 weeks, 5 weeks. We are now down to a week or sometimes less. And that is causing real issues. We are lacking an overall log aggregation solution also inside the bank where all the customers can feed their logs in. This is really difficult. And I mentioned it before, we are answering a lot of customer tickets. Yeah. And the real question behind is how many of these customer tickets are because it's valid to drop them to an OpenShift support team, or should better be dropped to an application level support team. And we see that we get lots of tickets from the application level. And we're always in the situation that we need to explain that this problem cannot be solved by us, it needs to be solved by yourself. Yeah. We often help on the situation because we see recurring situations on that, but that's really something we learned over the years. Good. Last but not least, some of the challenges. I mentioned already one, and this is number 2 here. This is the logging part. So I won't do that again. So we'll see the change to low-key there. We are analyzing that. We have test installations of that already in place. But it's not yet the case that we can roll it out. Number 1 is SDN to OVN. I bet that a lot of you stumbled about that point as well. And yes, we still have some clusters running SDN, even if it gets deprecated soon. So we need to change to OVN. And there's one pitfall with that. Our current information is that we need a downtime of the cluster for the change. That's not a good idea for the use cases we have on that. We don't have that on all clusters, we have that on some. And that is something we need to work on. Cluster API, so changing the installer towards cluster API. Usually I would say, okay, that's changing the process a bit, it's using a different API, but that can be tested and it should be easy to get that in the fashion we have it now. But it's not, because it's influencing how cloud resources get deployed or add to our subscriptions with all the settings of the cloud resources. And that is something we need to check. And that is something we need to check because of security reasons and because of compliance reasons. And that's why it's a task we really need to do, and we really need to check the installation results afterwards. So this is something putting a bit of pressure on us to have that clearly there. Number 4, auto-scaling. Oh, I love auto-scaling. I need to say I love auto-scaling, but there are 2 issues with that, and these 2 are hindering us currently to do so. The first one is, in the back end, in the very back end, we do not have all the APIs in place we need to put 100% automation on scaling up new nodes and ramping down nodes. This is not possible currently. So this is number 1. This is purely Commerzbank internal fact. The other one is, if we think about auto-scaling, we need to think about the process or the event, why and when we want to auto-scale. It's easy to say, okay, I scale down my clusters overnight, and save some compute costs on that. But that's not possible, at least for our shared clusters, for example. This is showing mostly flat utilization curve. So this is not that critical. The automation part is not that critical for the shared clusters. But for the dedicated clusters, it might be. But what if the customers put a lot more pressure on the system and the utilization to the customer is raising? Then I need to react in milliseconds, right? And what is the right event to do so? It's starting, it's increasing by 3%, it's increasing by 5%. So when do I say I need to put new nodes inside, new worker nodes in the cluster? And how quick is that happening? If that takes half an hour to put the new node inside, then it's really hard to decide what is the criteria to put one in or put it out, because customers could also lower their utilization of the cluster already. Operator lifecycle management, number 5. As I said, we are looking forward to having some more individualized, dedicated cluster. Mostly the shared cluster will be a standard cluster. And we hope that the operator lifecycle manager can help us with that, because we are struggling with the management overall if we have different clusters in place. We have 40 clusters in place and we treat them nearly the same. So it's easy to maintain. It's somehow easy to maintain. But if they are all different, that would be a totally different game. And that's why we're hoping that these operating lifecycle managers is helping us in that situation. And obviously, we have container security, and I see Kirsten sitting in the first row here, just having said a lot to that in the session before. So yes, that's something on our agenda as well. And the right uses of ACM as well. And since I started in that, I never had a table where no post-its with challenges have been on. And I doubt that I reach the situation that I find my table empty. So there are always upcoming new challenges, new developments in the area, and I guess you all feel the same on that topic. That will not end. Okay, that was quick run through Commerzbank and its OpenShift infrastructure. Hope you enjoyed. I did. Thank you very much for listening.